Oh yeah, the NFL draft and rookies. Hell yeah.
Podcast off the rails already.
But there is not a chance in hell Justin Fields is finishing in the top 10.
You know what, Mikey? Shut it.
He wants
Why
it.
not?
You don't want the smoke.
He's Calvin Johnson. He's Calvin
Oh,
Johnson.
good.
Oh
God.
my
Yes,
God.
yes, yes, and yes.
What are we gonna do with you?
It just, it adds a little extra flavor to the podcast.
I think you're disrespecting David Njoku.
Thank God
Yeah.
for Joe Flacco. That's all I can say. I'll help the owners. Don't draft Kadarius Toney.
I have to give the people what they want. I mean, come on. I'm going to milk it. I'm going to milk it for all it's worth.
I'll give you something to milk.
Let's rock and roll.
Welcome in, MHA owners. It's that time for another MHA podcast. Eric Lansing, Todd Diamond, Mikey Bruneau. Gonna look back on this week 8 as we keep getting closer and closer to the playoffs. Still, I think we have like 5 weeks left, 6 weeks left to go, so still a lot to be decided, but we get ever closer to the fun postseason. Gentlemen, what are we at? Wednesday night. How's everyone doing this evening? Todd, you hanging in there?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay.
That's a depressed panda over there for sure.
Yeah.
Someone's team lost in the World Series.
Yeah, I already said enough effigies. I yelled the F word about 5 times and then just sat in silence for a minute before we started the podcast. So I'm okay. I'm good. It was, no, let's just keep going because I'm
Already starting with the effigies, huh?
Yeah. Like we were supposed to go a little like 15 minutes ago, and Todd's like, I'm just going to go in this rant about what the Yankees need to do for next year. And he was ready to go for it, part 2, but he held back. I can appreciate that. Mikey, how are we doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Sitting tied for first place. Highest scoring team on the week again.
Are you
What
tied for first place?
be wrong?
Are you tied for
Oh,
first
I guess
place?
I'm not. I assumed that I'm tied for second place. There you go.
There you go. Are you even tied for second? No. You are second place because it's based on points.
Well, I just look at record.
Just
so,
look at record.
yeah.
All right. Well, that's good. Well, I'm glad everybody's having a good Wednesday evening. Happy National Tight Ends Day a few days ago. Some fun stats as we get into this. A day I feel like we desperately wanted from tight ends because tight ends have been pretty bad all year. But what a day, or what a weekend. I guess it was a day. 177 receptions, the most by tight ends on any single day in NFL history. 1,965 receiving yards. That's the second most all time. And the 16 combined TDs on one day on Sunday was the 8th all time. 14 tight ends reached 10 or more points, including 3 with more than 20. Tight ends are back, gentlemen. Are we excited about tight ends now?
No, they're not. No, that was just no, they're not. That was just that was just because it was tight end day.
Didn't show up this week.
Well,
Yeah,
okay,
sure.
yeah, 7 points, yeah, but still, tight ends ain't back yet. They ain't back yet. They're not
Mikey,
back.
tight ends back.
It was tight ends day. So let's tight ends have a day. That's it. It's over now. Sorry.
I agree with Todd. I'm going to need a bigger sample size than one Sunday.
Yep.
Oh, come on, guys. It was a great day for tight ends.
Yeah,
Especially with someone that had a 20-pointer.
Yeah, well,
Needed all of it to beat someone whose tight end didn't show up. Poor
20
Todd.
points.
What a rough weekend for Todd. Let's get into this. Let's make this even better. Let's get into some MHA trivia.
Time to play the game. Time to play the game.
Todd, you ready for some MHA trivia?
As long as there's no Yankees or Dodgers questions in this thing, then we're good.
Oh, man. All right. So, some stats that took place, some records that went down in week 8. So I'm just going to go back and forth and ask you guys questions. And I don't know, should we just go back and forth or should we have like a buzz-in thing?
I don't have a buzzer at my desk here.
No one has a buzzer at their desk. Let's just go back and forth. So I'll start with Todd, then we'll just kind of go back and forth. Okay. So whoever gets to, gosh, these are some tough questions. We'll go 4. Whoever gets to 4 first wins MHA trivia. All right. So we'll start with Todd, but both need to pay attention to what's going on because there's a multiple choice in some of these. So, all right, let's start with Mikey's quarterback, Kirk Cousins. He became the 4th player in NFL history with at least 750 yards and 8 touchdown passes against a single opponent in a single season. Can you name those 3? Now, that's very difficult, so I'm going to give you some years, okay? So give me a quarterback from 1990, 1988, and 1962.
All right, I'm going to go really off cuff here because what the hell? Jeff George.
All right, I'm sorry, Todd. It was not Jeff George. This is relative. Well, go ahead, Mikey.
I'll go Sonny Jurgensen.
Ooh, that's a good guess. However, that's incorrect. In 1990, this came against the Falcons, so it wasn't a Falcons quarterback, so that's not going to help too much. In 1988, it came versus the Jets. And then in 1962, it came against Washington. Well, I would say all 3 are fairly recognized, like top level quarterbacks.
Warren Moon.
Warren Moon. Incorrect. I'm gonna give Mikey another chance here.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Dan Marino.
Dan Marino. Hey, well done. 1988 versus the Jets. Todd, I'm gonna give you one more guess, then we're gonna move on to the next question. You want to give me a guess?
I
know these are tough questions, so
yeah, these are great. I'm actually gonna go look some of this up afterwards. Move to the broadcast.
There you go.
Let's see, 1990. Warren Moon. Jim Kelly.
Oh, I'm sorry. So the answers for this one: Joe Montana versus the Falcons. How about Y.A. Tittle versus Washington in 1962? Next question. Mikey's up 1-0. Lion Rip quarterback Jalen Hurts ran for 3 rushing touchdowns in one game. I know Mikey knows that. Hurts finished with 37 rush yards and has fewer than 70 rush yards in all 3 of his 3 touchdown games. He tied someone for the most games with fewer than 70 rush yards and at least 3 touchdowns in one game since 1950. So I'm looking for this player that ran for 3 touchdowns in one game and had less than 70 rush yards. So I'll start with Mikey this time. I didn't see a year. I will see if there's a year. If there's a year, I'm sure that would be very helpful.
Yeah, I'll go with Jerome Bettis.
Jerome Bettis, that is not a bad guess at all, but it's a wrong guess. Oh, it doesn't really say. Well, because he did it 3 times, so there's not really a year situated with it. Todd, I'll give you a guess, and then I'll give you guys a clue if Todd doesn't get it here.
I'll go Marcus Allen.
That's also a very good guess. The clue is it is a running back, and a running back from the 1990s. Mikey?
Let's go. I'll go Ironhead Hayward.
Ooh. Sorry, incorrect. But it's fun to hear his name. Ironhead, what's this thingy? That's what I remember about Ironhead. Back to you, Todd. Try to tie things up with Mikey here.
Thurman Thomas.
Great guess, but incorrect.
Dang.
I can't give you any other guesses.
Okay.
It is an elite running back. I'll just say that.
Okay.
But Mikey's turn.
Let's go Emmitt Smith.
That's a good guess.
Well done. Very good guess. Thought it was an interesting stat. 3 touchdowns, less than 70 yards. I guess Emmitt Smith and Jalen Hurts have both done it 3 times. Next question. My boy, Jared Goff, threw for 3 touchdowns in the Lions' slaughtering of the Titans, but he threw for just 85 yards. Those 85 yards passing are the fewest in a game by a player who's had at least 3 touchdown passes since the 1985 AFC Championship game. Who was that quarterback? Todd?
Is it AFC quarterback?
I'm not going to tell you that until you guys get through. But I mean, it's in the AFC Championship game, so yeah, it's an AFC quarterback.
Jim Kelly.
Jim Kelly. Sorry, that's incorrect. Mikey.
Dan Marino.
Oh man, incorrect. So 1985 AFC Championship game. Those 2 teams were the Patriots versus the Dolphins. So Mikey obviously knew one of the teams.
Tony Eason.
Tony Eason. Damn, well done, Todd. Holy shit. I don't think I ever would have gotten that. Well done. Proud of you, kid. Better than coming through in the clutch, unlike those Yankees. Back to Jared Goff. And this is going to be Mikey. During the Lions' 5-game win streak, Goff has a 146.5 passer rating, breaking whose record for a 5-game span during the Super Bowl era. This took place in 1999 with a minimum of 100 pass attempts. So, who did Jared Goff beat for a 5-game win streak of the highest passer rating during a 5-game winning streak? 1999, Miguel.
I'll say Kurt Warner.
Good guess.
Well done. That's a great guess. That's the right guess. All right. So Mikey's up 3-1. Todd, you need a big point here. And this is your boy, Jaden Daniels, who 52-yard Hail Mary was the second longest game. This is going to be a tough one. Jaden Daniels, 52-yard Hail Mary was the second longest game-winning touchdown as time expired by a rookie in NFL history. This Cleveland quarterback did it in 1999 to beat the Saints. Who is?
Tim Couch.
Tim Couch. Are you sure? Yeah, that's correct. Well done, Todd. Tim Couch in 1999 beat the Saints on a 56-yard pass to Kevin Johnson.
Wow.
Well done. All right. Mikey's turn, a chance to win. So Daniels, his Hail Mary pass put him over 300 pass yards, making him the 3rd rookie since 1950 with at least 300 yards passing, 50 yards rushing, and 0 interceptions in 1 game. Who are the other 2? Relatively recent. And I'll give you more information as we get closer. I know. 300 yards passing, 50 rush yards, and 0 interceptions as a rookie. Just the 3rd quarterback to do it.
I'll go Michael Vick.
Good guess, but incorrect. Todd, a chance for you to tie it here.
Let's see. He's a rookie.
He was a rookie when he did it, right? Yep.
Okay.
Ooh, Mikey might know.
Well,
or he has to shit himself. It's one of those.
I just have a guess.
Ooh.
Like I said, relatively recent.
Okay. Was it Patrick Mahomes?
Sorry, it's incorrect. Mikey, what is your guess? You have a guess.
My guess is Cam Newton.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, so this is going to be kind of giving it away perhaps, but both of these happened in the same year, in 2020. Who were rookie quarterbacks in 2020?
No, he was 2019. Oh my gosh! Right. Oh no, not no.
Oh!
Damn it!
Todd, do you have a guess?
Oh God, I don't. What's the quarterbacks then? It wasn't. Joe Burrow.
That's your guess?
Joe Burrow, yes.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Mikey for the win. Who is it? Two of them.
I'm trying to remember.
Oh, you too. You too. I thought that 2020 would give it away.
I mean, I'm not really the draft guru, so
True. It's true.
you know, it's harder for me. Shoot. I'll say Josh Allen.
No.
Man.
Josh Allen was 2018.
All right. Do we go to the next one, or do you want to keep guessing?
I kind of want to keep guessing.
All right. Go for it. I can't give you any other guesses.
I know.
Rookie quarterbacks in 2020. That's about as easy as it gets. I get not easy, but
Oh.
Those sounds like people are having orgasms. Oh, no. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, no. Oh,
help.
I have a guess. It's a guess.
What was it? Josh Allen, not. Dang, go ahead,
Mikey.
Okay. Just because I was paying attention to Todd, and he had mentioned Joe Burrow, and obviously Todd knows his draft shit. And if I remember, Justin Herbert was in that same draft, so I'm going to go with him.
You think that's a good guess, Todd?
Yeah.
Sure is. And the other one was Jalen Hurts. Mikey wins MHA trivia. Excellent. I have one more question. Let's just go through it real quick. Broncos rookie quarterback Bo Nix has helped the Broncos reach 5 wins so far here in 2024, and that breaks the rookie record by a Broncos quarterback for wins. Who are the 2 Broncos that had 4?
Elway and Drew Lock.
Oh, well done. Good job. Mikey still wins, but that was a good job, Todd. That was a good job.
Thank you.
Those are some tough questions for sure.
I'm gonna kind of go look up some of those questions. Those are, hey, give me 90s NFL football all day long. So.
He loves it. So let's get into some news.
I don't understand what the news is. It's just like, hey, here's a bunch of you can't fix that happened that was horrible.
All right, we're going to make this quick because it's Wednesday. That means there's a lot going on. Indy quarterback Anthony Richardson is being benched for Joe Flacco, which is great news for that Colts wide receiver core. However, both Josh Downs and Michael Pittman dealing with injuries and did not practice today, so we'll all keep an eye on that. Deontay Johnson, now with yet another team as he was traded to the Ravens. Should we be excited about that, gentlemen?
Well, maybe, because I have him on my team. I mean, it's definitely an upgrade. He's going from from Andy Dalton and Bryce Young to Lamar Jackson, who looks like the MVP. So yeah, I would definitely say that's a big upgrade.
I don't know. There's a lot of There's a lot of other pieces on that team.
I disagree, because he's going from where he was probably the sure either number 1 or number 2 option offensively, depending on with Chuba Hubbard there. Whereas now it's like Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, the 2
Mark
tight
Andrews.
ends.
Stupid Mark Andrews. So yeah, but that happened. So I needed to mention that. Some bad news for the Butterfingers. Stephon Diggs went down early in his game against the Colts, and it was later found out that he tore his ACL and will miss the rest of the season. So sorry, Todd.
That's okay. He has Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, very true. Jags dealing with a plethora of injuries. Tank Bigsby, Travis Etienne, Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas Jr., all very limited or did not practice today, although I was surprised to see Thomas Jr. was limited. There was a lot of news that he was going to miss about 2 to 3 weeks, but he was limited in practice. Doesn't mean he's going to play, but that's where we are. That's what I hear today. Bills wide receiver Amari Cooper was limited in practice with an injury. I have an injury issue. I don't know what. I think it's a wrist injury, if I'm not mistaken. But all I typed was an injury issue.
I thought I saw it said that he was washed.
Oh, that could be true too. That could be true. Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins, he didn't practice today. Quadriceps have been bothering him for a while now. Lions quarterback Jared Goff apparently rolled his ankle in practice and did not practice today. Doesn't seem to be serious, but something I got to keep an eye on. Another injury for Jordan Love. This time it's a groin injury. He didn't practice today. Also, his teammate Josh Jacobs, he didn't practice today due to an ankle issue. TJ Hawkinson was a full participant in practice for the Vikings. Giants rookie running back Tyrone Tracy is dealing with a concussion, and he didn't practice today. Boy, he's been really good. Both Seahawks wide receivers Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, both dealing with injuries and are both questionable for this weekend. And Titans running back Tony Pollard and Calvin Ridley, the wide receiver, both did not practice on Wednesday. Anything else that I missed that you guys want to talk about, or should we get into these recaps?
Yeah, I got one thing.
Sure.
So, your boy Jameson Williams has an arrest warrant out for a gun charge.
Oh, no kidding.
Even though he's already suspended for PEDs.
He's looking for more time. He just like me today, didn't have to do a lot of work, and he finds it entertaining to watch a lot of TV. I don't know, but that's good to know. Anything else?
That's it.
That's it. Huh? That's a sucky one for sure. Thank goodness for Josh Downs. Hopefully he's back this weekend. All right, let's get into the week 8 recap. Let's start things off with the MHA's new top team in the notorious CUP. They took on Eaton W's. Kevin's squad got a massive 21 points from Joe Mixon, who hit the century mark on the ground and added a TD. That's about as exciting as it got for Eaton W's. Amari Cooper made just one catch for 1 point, and Jalen Waddle didn't go off with Tua back behind center for the Dolphins. So just 114 points. Who saw Quain's squad on the other end pile up 155, 52 coming from Kyler Murray, and how about 32 from CeeDee Lamb? A lot of that coming in that second half, and let's all jump back aboard the David Njoku train. I know Mikey loves that train. He puts up 14 points. Eaton W's falls to 500 at 4-4, and CUP at 7-1. The previous top team was Kilgore Trout, who fell for just the second time this season, losing to the Gonzo Cats 143-139. Joe's team had 8 of his 9 players reach double figures, which included 18 from Jonathan Taylor, 13 from Cooper Kupp, who seems to be all the way back, and 13 from Tony Pollard. Pollen's squad perhaps got the biggest day of the entire career of Kyle Pitts, who put up 2 touchdowns for 20 points. And how about DeAndre Swift, who broke off a late run that allowed the Bears running back to rack up 18. It was big as this one was heading into the Monday night game. The Gonzo Cats were down by 3 points with Jalen Warren going for the Steelers. Well, Warren got 46 rush yards and 2 receptions. Was able to squeeze out 7 points to help the Gonzo Cats earn the upset victory and improve their record to 3-5 to stay in the playoff race, while Kilgore Trout falls to 6-2. With Kilgore's loss, the Hot Tamales move into that second spot after they put up the weekly high score once again, defeating the Chad Powers fan club 172-141. Kirk Cousins took full advantage of Tampa's putrid secondary for 4 passing touchdowns and 59 points. Josh Jacobs went buck wild against the Jags defense for 127 rush yards and 2 rushing TDs. And the Lions defense had 262 return yards and a return TD for 26 points. For Miles' squad, they got a nice 48 points from Justin Herbert, and Jamar Chase, who caught 9 balls, one of those for a TD towards 17 points, but it wasn't nearly enough as Chad Powers falls to 3-5, and the Tamales now sit at 6-2. Mikey, some pretty good matchups heading into this week 8 for your squad, and they came through for you.
Yeah, I mean, my running backs continue to perform, which is always nice. And then, yeah, it's about time that I had a pretty damn good quarterback performance. I'd been struggling the past 2 weeks and got the good matchup against, as you said, the putrid Tampa secondary, and Kirk Cousins was able to take advantage. And I mean, for him, that's almost 150 points against Tampa this year.
I know you run with Dak too, but I felt like you were on that Kirk Cousins train as soon as you saw Tampa Bay was on the agenda for that squad. I don't think you ever thought about Dak, did you?
No, I did not, especially not with his history against San Francisco.
Well, there you have it. Blah, blah, blah. Next matchup in a battle of 4 and 3 squads. Cooper's Cousins took on Lion Rip. Lion Rip's QB, Jalen Hurts, had his best game of 2024, recording 53 points. We mentioned his 3 rushing touchdowns. Mark Andrews scored a touchdown for the 3rd straight game. Screw that guy. And Justin Jefferson, he reached double figures for the 7th consecutive game. Things didn't look so hot for Cooper's Cousins, who lost their quarterback Jordan Love to an injury after scoring just 19 points. But Marvin Harrison Jr., who hit double digits for the first time in 4 weeks. And how about Dylan's running back duo of Bijan Robinson and Devin Achane? They combined for 45 points. As Cooper's Cousins comes out on top over Lion Rip 130-108. Dylan now 5-3. Aaron falls to 4-4. In an elimination match of sorts, according to Mikey, 2-5 Lemonheads and 2-5 Butterfingers went toe-to-toe in Week 8, while Eric was right that a big first half from the Lions would slow down the production of both Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown in the second half. The Lemonheads got a big day from his running back duo of James Cook and Kyron Williams, 48 points, with both Mike Evans and Chris Godwin on the injury list. Cade Otton had 9 catches, 81 yards, and 2 whopping TDs. 25 points for Otton. The Lemonheads got a few breaks as both Stephon Diggs and Jordan Mason left their games early. Brock Purdy was making it interesting, however, picking up the slack from Mason as Purdy rushed for something like 50 yards and a touchdown. The Niners quarterback finished with 46 points, but it wasn't enough as the Lemonheads stay alive with the 137-120 win and the improved 3-5 record. The Butterfingers fall to 2-6. Anything you want to say about this matchup? I mean, just some unfortunate breaks for you, Todd.
Yeah, injuries are, it's one thing when your players don't perform when you want them to, but injuries, that's something you just can't control. Stephon Diggs going out early, only leaving with 8 points. And Jordan Mason getting hurt as well too. It just didn't help. And again, getting good performances from Kamara and Gibbs. I was like, okay, that's a good start and everything. But not what not what I was looking for. And maybe I don't know, take it for whatever it's worth, but. Denver's defense has been great. And I thought, oh, they're playing Carolina. Bryce Young is starting as quarterback. Oh, I'm gonna get 30 points from Denver's defense, but only 7. So not what I was looking for. But at the end of the day, it's just not my year. The injuries and maybe some miscues. I mean, would have played Darnell Mooney, maybe would have been close, but that still wouldn't have mattered and so forth. So, again, it's going to keep still battling. I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible for me to, to make a run, but my team is definitely not what it was last year. At the end of the day, CMC, checks a lot of boxes and don't have that this year. Well, granted, nobody has them this year, so that really doesn't matter. But just it's fantasy football for you. It's the gods can be raining, can just be shining on you for and you get all these crazy performances and wins and everything, and then the next minute they're saying, "Haha, just kidding," and you're losing 6 in a row. So
Well, you're still the defending champs until someone else is crowned. So they'll have that trophy.
There you go. Fair enough.
And finally, in a high-scoring affair, the NWA battled the Belt Sanders. Allen needed a win in the worst way and scored a season-high 146 points. Patrick Mahomes finally looked like Patrick Mahomes of old, reaching almost 50 points. And Allen's tight end, Travis Kelce, benefited from that, of course, hauling in 10 receptions, 90 yards, and a TD. Ramondre Stevenson found the end zone twice and reached a season-high 22 points. Starting quarterback Lamar Jackson, he also reached 50 points, while George Kittle continues his amazing 2024 season, adding 18. Heading into Monday night, the Belt Sanders had a 130-122 lead with still Najee Harris to go. NWA still had Tyrone Tracy Jr. and Pittsburgh's defense. Well, it was G's night on Monday. He got a combined 40 points, 22 from Tracy, 17 from the Steelers D to come all the way back for the 163-146 win. The NWA is now 4-4. The Belt Sanders fall to 1-7. I really didn't see much in the dough of the week category, unless you want to say that if Todd would have played Isaac Garendo, he would have won, but Jordan Mason was starting, and that just kind of happened because he went out with an injury.
Yeah, that was the only one that I saw.
And I'm not going to – Todd's dealt with enough heartache this past week. Plus, I really don't think it's deserving. So no one gets dough of the week. Good job, owners. A lot of good performances this week. And let's talk about those in the studs.
The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
Mikey, give me a stud from week 8.
All right. I'm going to give it to Tyrone Tracy Jr. for NWA.
I know, right?
Everybody felt like Devin Singletary was the starter there. there was a little bit of hype on Tracy in the preseason, but he has come along. I mean, Singletary getting hurt opened the window for him, and he's taken full advantage. He's got 3 double-digit performances in his last 4 weeks. He came up, with 145 yards and a touchdown against a pretty good Steelers defense on Monday night. Secured that win for NWA, against a tough Belt Sander squad this week. So I'm going to give it to the rookie.
I think it's a great call. He's also catching passes at a pretty decent rate as well. So if he ends up just kind of taking more of the workload over Singletary, it's going to be great. He does have a bye coming up, but he has some easy opponents coming up too with Washington and Carolina in the next 2 weeks. So yeah, Tyrone Tracy coming up big on Monday night. It must have been a great feeling for NWA to get back to 500 for them and Pittsburgh's defense. Todd, you want to give me a stud?
I'll give one on Mikey's team. Josh Jacobs, 25 points. Another great week for him. Obviously, Jordan Love's in and out of the lineup. It seems like now getting injured, so kind of leaning on that running game. So and so forth. So good on you, Mikey, for that one. For Josh Jacobs, didn't think how well he was going to do this year. And everything like that, and he's proven it. So good on you.
Genius.
Yeah.
Is that what we need to say?
No, don't do that. I might throw up. I've already.
I feel like Todd's head's been in the trash can all week or in the toilet all week for all he's had to deal with.
Yeah, giving myself swirlies. It's great.
Someone giving you swirlies at home?
No, I said I'm giving myself swirlies because.
That's weird. Todd's bullying himself these days. Josh Jacobs, 9th amongst running backs. Solid season, came up big. One of the, I had a few of them on here. I mean, CeeDee Lamb probably had his best game here of this season. 13 receptions, 2 touchdowns, 146 yards. It seemed like a lot of that came in the second half as Dallas was trying to rally. And I saw those touchdowns and it's just wide open. I don't know, the defense just kind of gave up on it or what, but big time performance. That's what you want out of those first round picks. And he came up big. Back to you, Miguel. Who else stood out for you last week?
All right. How about Kate Otten? The big waiver wire pickup, during last week was, trying to figure out who was going to get the catches on Tampa Bay. And so Jalen McMillan was the big pickup, and people thought maybe Sterling Shepard would resurrect from whatever career he had prior to going to Tampa Bay, but no. Otten again, 10 targets. He had 2 touchdowns, and Baker Mayfield's decided just to feed the ball to Otten and the 2 running backs. And so, 25 points for a tight end is outstanding. So 2 good weeks in a row for Mr. Otten.
I would say 3, because I mean, at that point, tight ends, if you had 8 points from a tight end, you're loving life. So, but yeah, then he has another really good matchup against Kansas City here on Monday night as well. So, just happened to work out. One of those things where we're all trying to find a tight end, and I didn't see this game this past week, but I know the previous week and that garbage time, it was just 6-7 yards to K. Dotton, and he would just grab it, get hit, fall forward a couple yards, and just over and over again. And of course, Baker Mayfield without those 2 weapons, that is big time. Todd, back to you for a stud.
Well, I'm just want to pat myself on the back just to make myself feel just a little better. But Jahmyr Gibbs, 20 points.
What? In a losing effort? What?
Hey, I've been losing all week, so just give me a break. Let me just have this one, okay? Rush for 127 yards and and 1 touchdown. This was my first round pick, so he's been he's been consistently good. So I'm just pat myself on the back for that, okay?
Patting himself on the back. Jahmyr Gibbs, what is he? 3, 6, 9, 9th. I think he's 9th amongst all running. Nope, that was last week. Man, I am really struggling here today. And not even because I'm tired. I'm just not on the ball here today.
Man, Eric's dropping the ball worse than Aaron Judge.
No, there you go. I love it. 5th. Jahmyr Gibbs, 5th amongst all running backs.
Why?
Oh, man. Who else stood out for me? I mean, don't we have to talk about Kyle Pitts?
Yeah.
Wow. That's been pretty impressive, isn't it? Is that his best game of all time? I didn't have time to check, but It was for this year, 20.55 points, 2 touchdowns against Tampa Bay, who obviously their defense or secondary is just it's nasty. And then Kyle Pitts for Gonzo Cats stuck with him, and he's done well. He is, what is he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th amongst all tight ends in points this season. And so we mentioned that big time upset as well. Anything else we want to talk about in studs, or should we go to the duds?
Ready for some duds?
Let's get to it.
This is the worst. You are the worst. I hate looking at your face. I want to smash it.
Todd, would you like to give me a dud? Not a lot of them, honestly. When I was going through this list, I have a ton of studs, but not a lot of duds.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with my tight end Hunter Henry. 7 points after after last week, and just can't get it right. I mean, there's nobody else in that New England offense that really you can throw the ball to, and Hunter Henry should be the main focus, but he's not. So I'm gonna give him the dud after a 12-point effort last week. Goes to 7. That's fantastic. So yeah, I'll go with Hunter Henry. Can't get the tight end right this year. That's cool too.
And even after that stat where I talked about how many tight ends had over 10 or more points, 14 of them, and fortunately Todd couldn't pick the right one. Mikey, who stunk it up?
So there's a real obvious one that I should give it to on Eaton W's. Maybe I'll let you get that one because I'm going after another one on Eaton W's.
Okay.
And that's Jalen Waddle. I mean, he has been, and the reason is because he's a player that I've had on my team in the past, and I've always liked him. But this year, he has been absolute dog shit. I mean, and I know that they've had issues with Tua being out, and the hope, I'm sure, from Kevin's end of things was he'd be back and, in a good matchup against the Cardinals at home. But man, like he can't do anything right now. He has no touchdowns on the year. And, it's just been an awful, awful year for Waddle so far. Like he's got to be one of the biggest busts of the year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I guess Tua went out in game 2 and obviously didn't do too much before then. I'm trying to look at this, he had 10 points in the first game of the season with a full game of Tua, and then since then 6, 5, 5, 6, 1, and 6. Obviously, a lot of that is just the lack of talent on quarterbacks before then. But we talked about it last time on the show that I think coaching has a lot to do with it. But yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's a high draft pick for a guy that hasn't done much. Tua's back, and not that Tyreek Hill had a great day either. I mean, obviously Achane, we talked about how good he was, but yeah, Jalen Waddle. And I mean, if we're just going to stick with the good old Mari Cooper, who after 13 points had that touchdown in his first game with Buffalo, could only imagine one catch for 3 yards. I know he was dealing with a wrist issue, but I think he played the whole game. I'm trying to look that up. It didn't say he left that game early. So that's a big time yikes in a game that Kevin desperately needed him. I mean, I'll also say another wide receiver that played the whole game was Michael Pittman for Lion Rip, who needed a big day. 1 catch, 16 yards. That's not going to get it done. Obviously, with Anthony Richardson being benched now, that might be good news for Aaron and Pittman and Josh Downs for myself. Hopefully that turns things around. Todd, did you have another dud?
I'm going to go with another tight end, Brock Bowers. He was
back to Eaton W's again, huh? Poor Eaton W's. What a rough week.
Yeah, I know. I know.
He knows about rough weeks. It's Todd.
Yeah, sure do. Only 7 points. I mean, obviously Brock Bowers so far this season's been great. I mean, put it this way, he'll be a top tight end next year for sure. But he not so great against Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City's defense has been it's been on a different level per se. So, but the Raiders really don't have a quarterback per se either. So that's take it for whatever it's worth, but not what you're looking for after you lose or trade Devontae Adams. You're like, oh, Bowers might be the main focus. Not so much.
Anybody else, Mikey?
No, I mean
Yeah, not a lot.
Nick Chubb wasn't very good,
Yeah.
but I mean it's only his second game back. They were throwing the ball a ton. Cleveland was this week with Jameson there.
Yeah.
Um, he'll find his footing, I believe, but
I
not
think,
a great week.
yeah. And the last one I had on was Tyler Lockett. I know he hasn't been stupendous or anything this year, but with DK Metcalf out, just one catch. I mean, I know Buffalo's defense is not what it was. They're not the worst, but they're not super great either. And that's a bad game for Belt Sanders, who, man, he had a good game, a good week, but he needed every point he could get, and Tyler Lockett probably let him down. Okay, the schedule for Week 9: 7-1 Notorious CUP will take on 4-4 the NWA. 6-2 Hot Tamales will take on 1-7 Belt Sanders. Oh man. 6-2 Kilgore Trout will take on yours truly, who's at 3-5. How about a battle of 4-4 is Eaton W's and Lion Rip. 5-3 Cooper's cousin will face off against 3-5 Gonzo Cats. And Todd 2-6 Butterfinger 2-6 Butterfingers will take on 3-5 Chad Powers Fan Club. Buys in Week 9, just two teams, and the 49ers and Steelers. So that makes Mikey's life even easier, I guess, against the Belt Sanders. With the lack of 49ers and so forth. There you have it. How are you feeling? But you feel good about that matchup, Mikey? You going for more than 172 this week?
I feel good about the matchup. I worry about Mahomes against Tampa on that Monday night.
Yeah, that's true.
I know Mahomes hasn't been great, but against Tampa, he could go for like 80 or something, and then that wouldn't be good.
And it's prime time, which
I
think he would like try to get up for because he's a center of attention for sure. Yeah, Mikey's not dealing. I don't see any big deal. So you have Dak in there at the moment. You like him against Atlanta over Cousins versus Dallas, huh?
Yeah, they're playing against each other, which is interesting. So, I don't think that either defense is like super great, but I think Dallas is in a position where they're going to have to throw more on the road. So, yeah, I'm going to give the ball back to Dak.
There you go. What about you, Todd? Chad
Well,
Powers Fan Club.
Just hope my team performs. At this point now, got nothing else more to lose, so I'm gonna roll with Jaden Daniels, obviously, because Purdy's on a bye. We'll see. I picked up
Joe Flacco.
Yeah, I picked up Joe Flacco, and then picked up Elijah Moore. Obviously, he seems to have a good rapport with Jameis Winston for in my flex position and so forth. And we'll see with Hunter Henry, roll with him again. But I kind of lost, and I don't have a lot of words tonight, fellas. But we'll just see what happens. I put the lineup in that I think they can win, and if it does, great. If it doesn't, got to keep try for next week. So got to keep going. Got to keep going.
Gotta keep going. And of course, I take on the third ranked team in all the league in Kilgore Trout. I was texting him a little bit earlier tonight, and he says, well, he barely beat Todd 2 weeks ago, and he lost this past week. So he's not feeling super great about his team either. But Burrow versus Las Vegas, that could be scary, to say the least. But he doesn't have anybody super important on bye, it looks like. He's got some good players. We'll keep an eye on Pollard and Higgins, who are questionable, but I also have Goff, who's questionable, Downs, who's questionable, Bigsby, who's questionable. But my team's been playing okay. So there's a chance, but it's going to be difficult. I hope I don't have to play Tua against Buffalo, but I think Jared Goff's going to be just fine. Before we get out of here, Mikey, you've been working on a fun project at home with our league. You want to tell the audience what you've been working on?
Sure, and while it's not complete, it will be hopefully here soon.
Yeah.
Just working on an all-time standings. I think it's important to have history for our league, and it's kind of interesting going through and seeing, who's done what against who. And so, yeah, I mean, one of the big things was finding out that Aaron's beaten Belt Sanders 13 times in a row, which is just nuts.
Oh boy.
I know Aaron hasn't beat me 13 times in a row, but he's beaten me pretty good over the past decade. I know that record's not good against Aaron recently. But no, it's been cool that you've been going through that and looking at who's done well against who hasn't done well against who, and who owns the all-time record in wins. And, maybe we can talk more about that as we go along through the weeks here. But no, that's a lot of work. I can imagine going through. How many years? What year are we in? 22, 23? That's a lot of years.
22, yeah.
Thank goodness for Yahoo to keep all that record stuff. I know it's just websites and blah, 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 but it's cool that they've kept it all together.
Yeah, I mean, part of the purpose of this project is to make sure that in case that goes away at some point, I still have it.
Smart.
Good job, Miguel. Good job indeed. Well, that's going to do it here for the MHA podcast coming up on week 9. A lot going on here. We wish Todd the better rest of his week. How about that?
Appreciate that.
Oh, man. Well, fantasy football, folks. Lots of fun. For Eric Lansing, Mikey Renault, Todd Diamond, we'll see you next time on that MHA podcast.